Okay, so in this video of the series, we're going to go ahead and start building a really basic membership site. Now, obviously, in the course of this series, I'm starting from scratch with a membership site. We're about to enter WordPress and we're going to start installing some plugins. Now, obviously, I'm not going to build something of the caliber of, like, say, Blog Marketing Academy in this series because it would take forever. And I don't have a whole lot of training content we're going to stick onto this. So, but I'm going to use this test bed site and I'm going to show you the mechanics of getting the membership site put together and use it as our test bed. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to pop into a blank install of WordPress. We're going to install some plugins and do some of the basics in there. Let's get started. Okay, so we are now inside of my favorite host, which is rocket.net. I've installed a very blank install of WordPress. I'm just calling it test membership, and we're going to go ahead and use the one-click login and get going. Okay, so brand new installation of WordPress. So what we're going to do now, we're going to start off by simply installing some plugins. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and put WooCommerce on here. I probably could have done that right off the bat now that I think about it, but we'll just go ahead and do it. Show me some WooCommerce. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and install that. Okay, let's activate it. Watch it chug and do what it does. Okay, so now we get into like the standard WooCommerce setup stuff. Generally speaking, I like to skip a lot of this stuff, but I'll show you. I don't do the wizard because I don't really care. So we're going to skip the guided setup. We do need to pick where we are. So let's pick, I'm in Florida, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now on this stuff, because WooCommerce, they want to walk you through everything, they want to sell you some stuff, we're just going to like start to get rid of some of this stuff. We're going to hide the setup list because I don't need it. We're going to hide that. We're going to dismiss everything in the inbox. All right, don't really need that either, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, all righty. And we're going to have some settings and stuff to do. But what I'm going to do, because I'm going to turn off the analytics, this payments option shows up because it wants you to use Woo Payments, because Woo Payments is another way that they make some money. So we're not going to use this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just hit no thanks. Just get rid of it. Okay, so you'll see the payments option goes away. Now, I will say before we get going, you could use Woo Payments if you'd like to. And what I usually do is just connect it up to my Stripe account. So Stripe is pretty much the most common credit card processor out there. And so I'm used to using Stripe. That's what I use. Now, if you want to use Woo Payments, go right ahead. I think the rates are exactly the same. And it's actually better integrated into WordPress. So you could keep that payment option in there and just install Woo Payments and go that route, and you probably will be perfectly happy with it. Obviously, I'm not going to install Jetpack. I don't recommend that you install Jetpack either. Okay, now we're going to go into the settings. Okay, we're going to just disable some stuff. We'll go in and keep coupon codes because you never know. We might end up using that. Go to products. We're going to turn off product reviews because generally speaking, we don't need any of this stuff. The thing about it is that WooCommerce is going to have a catalog function. It's expecting you to have a catalog of all kinds of different products. The thing is, the typical membership site usually only has a handful of these things. And not only that, they tend to be virtual. And not only that, we tend to use sales pages to sell them, not having them browse through a catalog. And so we don't use product reviews. I usually turn that off. I go over to the inventory page. I turn off stock management because we don't need to track stock of virtual things. The rest of it we generally leave alone because we're not going to use it. Shipping, we don't ship physical products in most cases, so I just leave all this alone. Stripe, we'll get to this in a minute, or under payments, but again, you could use Woo Payments, all right? The rates are the same. In fact, it probably uses Stripe on the back end if I had to guess. It is a little better integrated into WooCommerce, and so you might actually prefer it. But what I usually do is I'll go and install the Stripe plugin, and I would connect this thing up to Stripe. That's just what I do. You can make the decision that's right for you. All right, under accounts and privacy, I usually uncheck this first box because we don't want people to be able to buy things without an account. We want a little bit of control over that. We don't want them to see. I think I've got like that, and then I have this. Allow them to create an account during checkout. Okay, rest of it we'll just leave default. Can always come back and save this stuff later. Under emails, I just kind of leave all this default for now. And you could do what you would like to do, but you can come in here and manage some of these emails. Now, keep in mind, you can control some basic stuff on these outgoing emails. You can also turn emails off if you don't want everything going out. But in order to modify the actual template, like the colors and all the fancy stuff, you would need to either modify the actual code, which there are ways of doing that, or you'd have to put a plugin in place to modify it. Honestly, I usually leave all this stuff default because I find it works and I find that people are pretty used to it. All right, under integration, you're pretty much not going to have to do much of anything in here. Just leave all that be. Site visibility. That's interesting. I'll probably just go ahead and go live. This is a new one. Didn't even know that was there. All right. And then we're going to go to advance. This one, most of these pages have probably been created already. So for now, you can go ahead and leave this stuff alone, and we can come back to it later if necessary. Under woocommerce.com, I usually uncheck this to display suggestions because I don't need them trying to sell me stuff. Okay, then I go to features. You want to make sure high performance order storage is turned on automatically. That's the new, more modern way that WooCommerce stores orders in the database. It's a lot more efficient. It's usually going to be turned on by default, but you just want to make sure that it is. I personally turn off WooCommerce Analytics because it gets rid of this menu option and we just don't need all that stuff turned on. Order attribution is more if you are going to be running paid advertising into this site and you want to track the attribution, like what ad led to what and that type of thing. I don't usually worry about that stuff, so I turn it all off. Okay, and now the analytics is gone from there. Nice and simple. So that's basically the standard for WooCommerce on a basic setup. And like I said, I don't have Stripe turned on. Right now, there would be no way to take payments. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Search for the word Stripe. There it is. I'll just install it. I'm not going to set this stuff up right now, but I'll just have it in there in the back burner, kind of ready to go. Okay. That's pretty much that as far as that goes. Now, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to install Fluent CRM. All right, let's go ahead and add a new plugin. Okay. Now, you're going to be able to find Fluent CRM for free. However, this is the free version. Now, we're going to want the pro version, okay? But we'll set that up. But we're going to go install Fluent CRM. Fluent CRM is going to be the email list. It's going to be our marketing automations. It's going to form the foundation of the database and how we control member permissions and stuff like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead because I have it in, whoops, not there. Let's upload it. I happen to have it on my hard drive. I got all kinds of stuff on my hard drive. So let's go install. This one looks pretty recent. This is the pro version of Fluent CRM. I'm not going to worry about licensing this stuff right now. It'll still work. I have licenses to all these things, but we'll just go ahead and get everything moving. Okay, yes, it needs to be activated. We know, but basically now we have ourselves a Fluent CRM install. I'm not going to go through their wizard either. We've got a contact list. We can add tags. The tags are going to be very, very important to how this whole thing works. You can drop through the settings if you'd like and enter your business name. So let's just call this test membership because that's sort of the name I've got here. I can enter my address, 123 Main Street, upload a logo, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the stuff you don't need to go through right away, but it is there. Okay. Also, on most hosts, you're going to want to tap into a really quality service to actually send your emails. This is a different topic, okay, than building a membership site, but you do want to have your site using a reputable sender in order to send out emails. And so, and membership sites can end up sending more emails than normal. So I'm going to go and install Fluent SMTP. I'll set this up after the fact, but this is the plugin that I recommend that you use. I know a lot of hosts and things, they try to pimp, like WP Mail SMTP and these types of things because it's from Awesome Motive, but it's paid plugin to make it not nag you to death. And there's just no reason to do it because Fluent SMTP does all that stuff and it's completely free and it's not going to nag you. So just use Fluent SMTP. It's way better. Okay, so now we've got Fluent CRM in place. That will be where the list is going to go. Now what we need is for Fluent CRM to work in conjunction with these user profiles, okay? Because these user profiles that are built right into WordPress are going to be the foundation of how people get user accounts and ultimately log into our website. So what forms that link is going to be WP Fusion, okay? Now, I want to show you something because depending on the nature of your site, this may be adequate, but in most cases, you're probably going to want the pro version. But you can actually go into the plugin repository and you will find, there it is, WP Fusion Lite. Now, WP Fusion Lite is in the repository. It's completely and totally free. And for some people, this will actually do the job, okay? Because it has the content protection capability built right into it. And it will, in a lot of cases, completely and totally work. Now, here's the thing. If you want it to integrate in with the WooCommerce products and these types of things, you're going to need the pro version. And that's what you're really getting when you do the pro version of WP Fusion, is you're getting it to integrate with everything, which happens to be pretty useful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and upload. All right, let's pop on down. Where is it on my hard drive? Right at, okay, let's go ahead and install the pro version of WP Fusion. Okay, let's activate that. Again, I'm not going to activate the license right now. Just kind of want to get everything installed and show you how to get it going. Okay, so now WP Fusion is installed. You can see this notice to finish setting up WP Fusion. Please go to the settings page. Let's go ahead and click on that. Okay, so we have not yet connected it to our CRM. Now, as you can see, WP Fusion works with all kinds of stuff. Okay, so if you're using one of these CRMs, Active Campaign, ConvertKit, you would connect to those and you plug in an API key and all that kind of stuff. Well, we're using Fluent CRM. It's all in-house. That makes it really, really easy. There's no nerdy stuff. So we're just going to go down here. And we got Fluent CRM, which is the REST API. This is so you can connect to Fluent CRM if it was on a different WordPress site. But that's not what we're doing. So we're going to say this site. And look how easy this is. That's it. We're done. Okay. And then obviously I would activate this. I'll take care of that off screen. That's it. It's nice and connected now. And now if we go over to WP Fusion, we're going to have lots of options available to us. Okay. We are going to want the access control system turned on. Where a lot of the stuff is still blacked out for some reason. Oh, I probably need to activate it. So I'll take care of that off screen because it's not part of this particular video anyway. So we have those things. We might want to go ahead and put Fluent Forms on there if you're going to do registration forms and stuff like that. If you want to create courses, you might want to put an LMS plugin on here. There's other ways of going about that, but the core functionality of the membership is sitting here now with WP Fusion. So what I'm going to do now is in the next video, we're going to cover a little bit about exactly how WP Fusion works, how it differs a little bit from other membership site plugins, things like that, because it is important that you understand conceptually what this thing is doing so that everything will kind of make sense. actually there was a little bit more to do. So in the setup screen, when I connected it to CRM, I forgot to hit the save button even. And so I did, and now you can see that all these settings are unlocked. Now we'll go over some of these settings a little bit later, but that is now working. The other thing I realized is that we forgot to put a theme on here. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier in this series, you don't have to use Cadence theme. It just happens to be what I like, okay? So with that being said, this is what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna go ahead and install Cadence. Now, there is a free version that's in the depository, so let's go ahead and install that. Now, in my case, though, I do like to use the Pro version. All that does is it adds on some useful functions and gives you more control over some things. But the free version is quite capable all by itself, and so you may not even need some of that other stuff. But in my case, I'm going to go ahead and install it. So the theme is Cadence, okay? And if we open up this, you'll see it's going to be super basic right now. This is basically just a blog because we haven't done very much yet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also install some of the add-ons. So we're going to go down to, I've got Cadence Pro. Let me go ahead and find that. Let's put this on there. More than likely that's an outdated version, but I'll take care of that after activation. This adds the Pro add-ons to the theme itself. Okay. All right, next up, we're going to install Cadence blocks because that's what we're going to use as basically our page builder. Because we're going to be using Gutenberg in this case. So let's install Cadence blocks. By the way, you can see they've got a WooCommerce email designer. So if you wanted to customize those emails like we talked about, that would probably be what you'd want to use. Okay, and now we're going to go and install the Pro add-on for Cadence blocks because it gives us some nice capabilities. It's a very capable plugin even for free, but I happen to like the Pro versions of things. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Okay, let's activate that. All right, and then with Cadence, what I usually do under settings, there's not a whole lot to do in here. These are all the blocks and stuff like that. If you go under appearance for Cadence, what I usually, because these are add-ons that are for Pro, okay? And this is why some of this stuff comes in handy. If you want to have like nice mega menus and stuff, you can turn that on. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on the header add-ons because it does add some things that are convenient for membership sites. Hooked elements comes in quite handy. This is not going to be a tutorial on Cadence, but these are just the things that I usually do. And then for archives, this is handy because it basically allows you to use design options for custom archives. And so if you're going to put something on there like LearnDash, well, you're essentially going to have an archive for that. And you can take a little bit more style options for those things. So those are the big three that I usually turn on. This one's probably handy for having scripts in your header and footer if you want, not necessary. And that's basically that. Okay, well, there you have it. We now have ourselves pretty much a blank install of WordPress with the core plugins that I'm going to be using to build the membership site. So once this video is done, I'm going to go in there and activate my licenses to make sure that everything can stay updated, that I've got the most recent versions. And I'm also going to set up Fluent SMTP so that the site can properly send out emails and that type of thing. One other final comment, as I mentioned, I like to use Cadence theme. I find that it works really nicely. It's very performance friendly, things like that. But again, I want to make the point that you don't have to use Cadence theme. You can use essentially any theme that you want. I just recommend that you use one that is quality and that is flexible enough where you can build a membership site on top of it. So if you want to use Spectra with Astra, use that. If you want to use Elementor with like the Hello theme and just build the whole site on Elementor, do that. If you want to use Thrive Theme Builder, I guess go do that. I used to be a fan of that, not as much anymore. If you want to go community and go Buddy Boss, go ahead. We'll put Buddy Boss on there with the Buddy Boss theme. We can build on top of that too. Okay. But I like to use Cadence, so that's what we set up. The other thing is that I'm using Fluent CRM, but again, WP Fusion will work with a number of CRMs, and almost everything that we do here would be exactly the same if you were using another CRM. Every CRM is a little bit different. Some have more capability than others, but if you're using ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or Drip or a Weber or any of these things, WP Fusion will work with it, and you can still use that as the core of your membership. In the next video, I want to talk to you more about how WP Fusion works, how it syncs your user profiles and your email CRM profiles together. It will do that whether the CRM is elsewhere or whether it's in-house like ours is. And that is going to be basically how the membership site works. We're going to add tags to people's profiles. It's going to change what their user account is allowed to do based on that. It's actually a pretty simple concept once you understand how it works. So with that, I'll see you on the next video.